morning and welcome to Coffee Walk. I'm feeling incredibly AMC today, American Motors Corporation. So the last 2 Sundays, after working 6 days a week, me and my guys went and unearthed 2 of the rarest, finest, and coolest American Motors cars ever built, bar none, period. So thanks a ton to Mr. Kevin McCarthy and Alex Bowling for giving up their Sundays, for helping us track down, rescue these cars, and a big thanks to Mr. Tim Farley, who was the finder of these cars with the leads and helped us tremendously on them. Now, I've got one more thing. I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart and from our family, from everybody here at Collins Motors for following us. It's a big day. Let me show you why. We're at 999,000 followers on Facebook. So, hopefully, at the end of this weekend, we will hit 1 million and we'll have that 1M. So thank you so much for watching. I tell you what, I'm going to give it all I got. My staff's going to give it all they have. Kelsey's on it. Tyler's on it. We are going to continue to give you the best real automotive content out there. So please keep watching. Please keep tagging. Please keep following it. Come check out these incredible of American Motors cars. Boom! 1969 AMC AMX SS. Unbelievable. There were 52 of these cars built. Now this particular car, which I think is probably the best in existence as far as condition-wise, was known as the Jimmy Walker car. Out of the 52 cars, this is one of the only cars that did not have a sponsorship and never had decals put on it. So the way these cars were built is they left the factory in what's called body in white, which you can plainly see when we lift the hood. They went to Hurst, and Hurst did the modifications on these cars, which were very extensive. This is the 30th body in white and the 36th car completed by Hertz. There's a lot of numbers you got to know on these super stock cars. This car, I believe, is the most heavily documented real one out there with the original paint still on it. You also have got a VIN decal. They were actually VIN'd right here. And you had an AMX decal or placard that was on the dash. This particular one is 12672. And the VIN from this car, which we have the documents, and the last digits are 3589. Now, you gotta see the condition of this car. This car was raced sparingly from 69 to 72. It was originally delivered to Delrose Motors in Pennsylvania. Once it got delivered there, a man named Jimmy Walker bought it. He raced it some local races up there, and yes, he won. He was running 1075s in this car stock. So this is a car that was delivered to him at his local dealership, took it to the drag strip and ran a 1075. That is insanely fast. In 1972, again, this car had very few passes on it. It broke a crank and got put in storage. Well, the collection that we got this out of, which was really neat, we didn't film because the family wants to keep it private, and we definitely respect that. Bought it in 1990, put it in there, and it hasn't moved until we found it. So if you look at the odometer on this car, it shows 2.9 miles. Well, you figure that quarter mile at a time, that's not very many passes. Now, some of the really special options on this car are Borg-Warner close ratio 4-speed. You can see the Hurst shifter in there. The waffle pattern seats, which are just absolutely stunning. And look at the condition of these door panels, absolutely just incredible for an original car. So again, when they left, they went to Hertz and body in white. They rolled them in, they taped them off real quick. It shot them in RWB, red, white, and blue. Here's a neat decal that came on this car. You also had to sign a piece of paperwork. This car is equipped with a specially modified 390 cubic inch engine and other special equipment. This car is intended for use in supervised acceleration trials only and is not made for general road use. And basically it goes down here and says there is no warranty at all. So pretty cool. Now, another neat options on these cars, of course, you got your Stewart Warner tack, your oil pressure gauge, very sparse in the interior. Look at the pedals on this car as new, steering wheel as new. Again, I think this is the finest original example there is of an unrestored car. Much like the Boss 429 cars and some of the other race cars, this car is going to have a trunk mounted battery right there. Look at the original decal here for the spare tire. Really cool. Now, here's what you want to see. 390 cubic inch with an Edelbrock cross ram. Edelbrock made these cross rams specifically for this series, for these 52 cars. Twin 650 high performance Holley carburetors that all barrels dumped when you hit the gas. These are the factory velocity stacks, factory headers for the car. Now the rear diff, and this is a gear ratio that I personally was not familiar with. These left the factory with a 440-to-1 track lock with extra keyways in it so the axles wouldn't spin. 444-to-1, that is unusual. If you look at this, and we're going to post a couple pictures, these cars wheelied really hard. They were crowd pleasers, and they were known. If you read the magazines back then, especially Hot Rod, it said, if one of these showed up at the track, put your car back on the trailer. If two of them showed up at the track, you're definitely going on the trailer. Where you're running the Boss cars, or you're running the Mopars, or you're running the Copo Camaros, these cars put you on the trailer. But there was only 52 of them. The theory in the series for AMC was they're going to make 50 of these, which they did. Well, the guys in Alaska weren't too happy with that. So they made 2 more and shipped them to Alaska, and that's where they came of the number 52. Now, what I said earlier, the crank broke in this car in 1972. They sourced another crank from PRE, which was one of the top builders of these 390 motors. And you can see that this is the original motor because you got your PRE codes on this motor, which is a 1206, and then they also coated the heads. These motors had a tremendous amount of work done to them. 12.3-to-1 compression, pretty serious. The heads were worked heavily. Just an incredible car. Some other things that lightened the car. These cars were 2,200 pounds. So they had no sound deadening in them, no exhaust, radio delete, heater delete, just a full-on proper drag car. How is that? That is incredibly cool. And this car is likely, it's also a staggered traction bars in the back and a very special rear end suspension. Hooked up hard, went straight, and wheelied great. This car is likely going to be back on the circuit next year, this nostalgic drags, and will likely never be sold again. So, long-term stories from 90 to now, from 72 to 90, then 90 to now, and now it's going to get back out there. Boom. The most expensive street car built for the Javelin line. So in 1973, you could order a Javelin. The biggest option was the AMX option. There was only 2,875 Javelin AMX Pierre Cardin cars. So this is the Pierre Cardin car. So if you look at the styling cues of this, these just unbelievable body style on this car with raised eyebrows on the fenders, the big wide rear wheelhouses, beautiful front grille, front spoiler. So let's break this down a little bit. So the majority of these cars were 360 cars. Very few of these cars were 401 cars. Out of the 2,875 cars, roughly 10 of the AMX Javelins were Pierre Cardin. So that's 287 cars, and roughly 10% of those were 401 cars. This just happens to be a Z code, as in zebra, 401. So in 1973, most people think of muscle cars. The ultimate muscle car that most people believe is the 73 Super Duty Trans Am, which is a fantastic car. And if you're interested in one, hit up Mr. Dave Hall at Restore Muscle Car. He's got the largest collection of 73 Super Duty Trans Ams right now known to exist. Last time I asked him how many he had, he said he didn't know, so he must have a lot. Anyways, this is a serious street fighter right here. 401, 4-barrel, positive track rear end. Now we get to decode this down just a little bit even further as far as color codes go. So in the registry, they have the colors of all the cars known. This car was an unknown car until we found it. Again, it had been sitting in the collection since 1992. We get in here to the tag, and this is something really, really interesting. And I was surprised to see your trim is a 341W. So 3 is the year, 41 is black interior, and W is Pierre Cardin. That's money right there when you have that. Now, I drop down to D4, and I'm thinking, D4? This car's E5. This is light pewter, which is a beautiful color. D4, D4. Couldn't find it anywhere. There's not a single D4 car listed. Well, this car was Cordova brown, which if you think about it, Pierre Cardin made handbags. Still makes handbags, big for that. Cordova brown with the Pierre Cardin interior. This was the only one built. Somebody color changed this car prior to 1992. They did a really good job. But I want you to see this interior. This has got to be one of the wildest, most flirtatious interiors ever put in a car, especially in a muscle car. Look at this. This is all Pierre Cardin. They've got their emblems everywhere, all their colors. The headliner is just crazy wild. But the dash and gauges in these cars are so Art Deco and so beautiful, which we'll get around here and you'll see all that. But here we have a Javelin AMX Pierre Cardin C code 401 4-barrel. Now, we got this car running. You guys want to take it from Rick? Because I sure do. Let's see what's in the trunk of this one. You saw the battery in the trunk of the AMX SS. Look at that. It's really neat. Space Saver spare, original floor mat, trunk mat, which are not available. Somebody did a really good job when they color changed this car from Cordova brown to E4 light pewter metallic. This car's also got tilt wheel. Now here's where the money is. This is incredible. Z code 401 V8. Look at this factory cowl induction hood. There's a seal that goes here that's missing. When you shut the hood, it seals it. Power brakes, but no power steering. This car's had some serious work done to it, and you'll hear it when we start it up. I think it's a roller motor. It definitely has a big cam. Got an MSD hidden inside there. It's got a line lock. This was definitely a street fighter back in the day. Let's take this for a ride. I think you're going to be impressed. I know I have been. Now this car is a street fighter. It's got a big cam in it. It's had a lot of work done to it. It's got a line lock. It's a monster. This would have gotten anybody's attention on the street. Let's take it out and roast the tires. If this isn't one of the coolest cars from 1973, well, actually it is one of the coolest cars from 1973. So, let's see how it runs. So the only thing that could have possibly been cooler than that in an American Motors Javelin or AMX platform would have been doing a wheelie in that. So maybe next year. So there you go, American Motors Day. I think we unearthed two of the best, rarest, finest, coolest American Motors cars ever built. Hopefully next year, you'll get to see that one wheelie. Y'all, thanks a ton for following. Again, we're at 999,000 followers on Facebook. We do have Instagram, and we got our YouTube channel. Please like, tag, share, and follow. Push us over that 1 million mark. We're gonna keep bringing you great content. Have a great day. Go fast and have fun.